Hello, and welcome back to Ink and Starlight BJD. It's Julia again, and today I wanted to talk about a subject that comes up often in the BJD hobby: doll disappointment and moving on. We'll be chatting a bit about mental health as it relates to collecting, so if that is a topic you think might cause you distress, I recommend skipping today's video and coming back to watch it when you're feeling a little better. I figured there would be no better time to talk about moving on from a doll you thought would bring you joy than now, as through the course of this video, you will see me packing up a doll I recently sold. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Fabled Curiosity, who purchased my Dream Valley Griffin dragon and helped me close the book on a rough chapter of my life. Here, you could see me writing Fabled a little personal thank you note with some details I won't divulge on here. You'll also see in a few seconds that I'm going to include a small gift to show my appreciation and because I love giving gifts. Now, let's rewind a little bit. In late 2023, I was able to start a dream job where I was earning enough money to really indulge in the BJD hobby. I was very blessed to add a lot of dolls to my collection in a really short amount of time. And when Dream Valley announced their 1/6 and 1/4 scale dragons in January of 2024, I really didn't hesitate much before taking the plunge and purchasing the beautiful boy you're going to see on screen in a minute in black and blue resin. While I waited for the dragons to be cast, be given face-ups and their body blushing, and make the really long journey from China to the USA, I experienced a really dramatic life shakeup. I was laid off from that dream job without notice and went from making a surplus to making nothing in a matter of hours. The manner in which I was laid off was upsetting and impersonal. I essentially woke up after a great night of sleep to a text message that changed the world as I recognized it. As you might expect, the effect this job loss had on my mental health was profound and immediate. I dove into applying for a new position and made finding a job in itself, as a way to starve off my emotional distress. I applied and applied and applied as the summer went on, and with every passing day, I could feel my mental health declining. I've been formally diagnosed with depression and anxiety since my early 20s, but the depression and anxiety I felt during my unemployment was unlike anything I've ever felt before. I ultimately made the decision to start an additional medication, which was immensely helpful, and one I've been blessed to since stop taking. I did find a job again, 3 long months after losing mine, and was able to settle into a new routine. The support of my lovely friends and my family was absolutely essential during this time, and I would not have made it through this without them. Then, right as the season of life was coming to an end, I got a notification from Denver Doll Emporium. My pre-ordered Griffin dragon had arrived in the US and was being shipped to me. I remember looking at the email on my screen and feeling absolutely nothing. The excitement that was there when I placed my order so many months ago and shared my plans and ideas for the dragon with was non-existent. At first, I thought I was too tired, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, to feel much of anything besides apathy. When the dragon was eventually delivered, in a massive box I might add, and I unboxed it on Christmas Eve with Hannah, I still felt nothing. As she and her family watched me assemble the dragon and figure out how to make him stand, happiness was an emotion far from me. I took the dragon home, placed him on my shelf, and kept him there. I felt incredibly guilty for not enjoying this expensive doll, felt disappointed for not liking him as much as I thought I would, and still couldn't bring myself to play with him. Hannah, when visiting, did take him out and pose him a few times, and I used the pictures she took while playing to list him for sale on the secondhand market. I bumped my sales post every few weeks, desperately hoping to gain back some of the money I spent, while the dragon sat untouched on my shelf. After a year of unsuccessful listing, I brought the dragon out to my local BJD meetup. As the meetup went on, and especially on my drive home, I started feeling agitated and upset and couldn't put my finger on what was wrong. It took me several days to bring the dragon back upstairs to my room, and while setting him back up on his shelf, I was struck with intense emotions of anger and resentment over my job loss. At this point, my job loss was over a year behind me. I was well established in a new position and was nowhere near as distressed as I was during that time. I didn't realize it until that moment, but this dragon BJD felt like a physical representation of all the hard times I went through. I couldn't pick him up or handle him because it brought me back to days of regretting the pre-order payment when I didn't have money to buy groceries. I couldn't look at him because he reminded me of how frivolous I was when I could have been saving more money. I couldn't look at him because the joy I had when purchasing him was no longer there. It was then that I fully realized that not only did this doll represent a period in my life that I hated, it was a constant reminder of a time filled with pain. After realizing this, it became clear I needed to part with him to completely move forward and put that bad chapter behind me. Here's where Fabled Curiosity came in. Fabled was so excited to purchase this doll, and the happiness expressed in our DMs made it feel like a weight was lifting off of my back. As I filmed this process you're watching now of packing up Griffin, I started to feel physically lighter. With every bubble-wrapped piece of spine and tail, I could feel my attitude towards dolls changing. When I dropped this giant package off of my post office, it truly felt like the bad book was finally over. Am I sad that this doll didn't work out for me? Yes and no. Ultimately, this dragon was not meant for me, and he was meant for Fabled. I believe everything we do in life has purpose and meaning, and if Fabled was meant to get this doll as a means of my healing, who am I to question it? I know so many other collectors who associate dolls with good and bad times alike, and having intense emotional and character connections to dolls kind of comes with the BJD hobby territory. A lot of others have made the painful decision to move on from a once-loved BJD because the pain associated with them is too much, and others hold on to dolls they've purchased out of guilt, no matter the circumstances surrounding their acquiring. Collecting, like any other hobby, and no matter what you collect, is meant to bring joy and add color to our lives, and act as an outlet and counterbalance for all the bad in the world. I'm here to tell you that there's nothing wrong with moving on from a doll or changing your collecting habits if it's making your mental health suffer. This hobby is vast and constantly changing, with new dolls entering the space constantly, not to mention new collectors and hobbyists. Sitting in your pain because it's something you feel like you have to do serves no one. Not your dolls, not your finances, and most importantly, not you. Moving on from dolls sometimes feels like something you shouldn't do, and something that brings a lot of guilt, despite the robust marketplaces out there for secondhand BJDs and items. Keep your hobbies, especially BJD-related ones, centered on finding joy, expressing yourself creatively, and making yourself be the healthiest that you are able. Your dolls shouldn't be making your mental health worse. Your dolls shouldn't dictate your happiness or your sadness. There's no shame in taking a step back from collecting, and there's no shame for moving on. You never know. The doll that you want to pass along for your own benefit may be the grail that someone is waiting for. I can't thank you enough for listening to me today. And I guess thank you for watching me go through this painstaking process. I am more than happy to hear your stories about the strain hobbies can sometimes put on your mental health. Again, big thank you to Fabled Curiosity, who I invite you to follow on Instagram so you can see this big guy in his new happy home. I'll drop Fable's Instagram tag in the description below. There, you can also find my contact information through Instagram, as well as Hannah's contact information. We love making new friends in the hobby, and it's great to interact with people who enjoy the same things that we do. We have lots of plans for exciting videos to come, so as always, I invite you to tap the bell and subscribe. Thanks for watching!